Warriors, the Lakers, LeBron James, Steph Curry, long playoff history. Their teams do not, though. This will be the first time the teams have met in the postseason since 1991 conference semis, which the Lakers won. Now, if LeBron James versus the Warriors enters another chapter, it's worth mentioning that LeBron has averaged 33 points a game against the Warriors, fourth most by a player against a single opponent in the history of the NBA postseason. But you know what? Steph in the postseason has had the upper hand, 15-7 against LeBron in the postseason. We know it's teams, but this is more fun. If you include the regular season, Curry 25-18, fifth best winning percentage against LeBron of any other player. But this is a team game, as Monica McNutt knows oh so well. Outside of those two, though, because they're the headliners, who's the most important player in this series?
Well, I think it's going to be Anthony Davis, Hannah. I mean, those two headliners, they are headliners for all of the obvious reasons. But to me, Anthony Davis poses a mismatch problem for the Golden State Warriors. I mean, Kevon Looney is coming off of a terrific series, and he has the size to guard Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis' full offensive repertoire would mean that he would be drawing Looney away from the basket potentially, and he obviously has a bigger size advantage over Draymond Green, who likely might spend some time guarding him. So to me, it's Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis has a monster series, that will put the Lakers in the best position to be successful.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the first round, just how critical his play was to the Lakers' fortunes. And it's interesting because they played so much better since the break. And here we go, Golden State. This is so typical, right? They're rounding into form. They get better every game. Let's take game 6, that awful clunker. Let's just take that as an outlier. Let's put that aside. What are you seeing from the Warriors that makes you believe they'll continue to get stronger throughout the course of the playoffs?
Well, Steph obviously is playing tremendous basketball, and he's the head of the snake. But I actually think about the additions, I guess we can call them that, in the postseason, the return of Gary Payton II and Andrew Wiggins. I think at points in this series, both of those guys had very impactful stretches, and it was reminiscent of what you saw last year in their finals run. Wiggins is a versatile defender. He's a versatile scorer. Gary Payton II just makes really heads-up, smart basketball plays, and obviously is a tenacious defender as well. And so outside of Game 6, to your point, you could see this Warriors squad kind of putting it together game by game, and in fact, getting into playoff mode, as it has been called this season.
It's just, I feel like we're having like flashbacks to last year. Also, really importantly, obviously they won 2 games on the road there in Sacramento in games 5 and 7. That's been their Achilles heel this season. And this, frankly, is a team that can just beat you in so many different ways. This is going to be a really interesting series. Monica, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Hannah.
So who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Three-pointer. Bang! Scoop layup is up. It's good. Puts it in. Oh, Steph Curry from way downtown. A 50-point Game 7. One of the greats of all time showed us once again what he's capable of doing as he chases his 5th ring.
Incredible, absolutely phenomenal. Steph Curry, first 50-point game in a Game 7 in NBA history, and does it while shooting better than 50% from the field. Maybe the most important part of that game, only 1 turnover. Before yesterday, no player had ever dropped 50 with 1 or fewer turnovers in a series-clinching win since they first started tracking individual turnovers. He is clearly one of the greatest players of all time. The question that First Take asked was, is he the greatest point guard of all time? Here's First Take, Last Take.
Fact of the matter is, Magic Johnson revolutionized the game of basketball. We can't get around that. But Steph Curry, the greatest shooter God has ever created, I think has warranted a strong discussion to be the best point guard in history because of impact. Did y'all know that Steph Curry has won more of his career playoff series than Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Shaq, Kobe, Larry Bird, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Steph Curry has won 85% of his career playoff series. He is 23-4 all time in 27 playoff series. That's 85%.
Who he's been doing it against and who he's been stopping from winning championships. When we talk about LeBron James, on some people's list, he's number 1. On some people's list, he's number 2. Who's been in his way? Steph Curry. When we talk about stopping Kevin Durant when he was in Oklahoma City, who was in his way? Steph Curry. We're talking about a guy that is playing in the league with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. We're talking about guys, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. We're talking those 6 guys alone already cemented in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. So when you think about that, all those guys, we're talking about 7-footers, athletic, and whatever the case may be. He is 6'2" and played below the basket. And he has been in their way since he came into the league. So when I look at Steph, I said it last year and I'm going to stand on it right now. He is the greatest point guard to ever play the game of basketball, period.
Well, ahead on SportsCenter as Curry and the Warriors move on to face LeBron and the Lakers, which under the radar Warrior, are any of them under the radar, needs to step up for Golden State to advance.
Warriors coming off a Game 7.
They called him doubtful for tonight, but said that he is improving daily. For the very latest, we bring in Tim Bontemps. He was just at Sixers shoot-around there in Boston. What's the latest for Embiid tonight?
Well, the latest, Hannah, is that Joel Embiid was on the court with the Sixers at the start of shoot-around. We were out there for the first few minutes before Philadelphia got started, and frankly, Joel Embiid did not do very much. He got on the court, took some very standstill jumpers, the same thing he did at the team's Camden, New Jersey practice facility on Sunday, and he remains doubtful for tonight's Game 1. Now, the Sixers are being cagey about this. They haven't really let anybody see what Embiid can do. They haven't said how much he has ran or how much he's been able to move around. But certainly, his status is not looking great for tonight's game. We'll see if something happens between now and tip-off tonight. But going back to when this injury happened, Philadelphia was just hoping that Boston would have their series extend as far as possible, meaning that it wouldn't start until today as opposed to Saturday, given the fact that Embiid is still doubtful for Game 1. The fact that the series against Atlanta went 6 games is as good a situation as Philadelphia could hope for. But certainly if Embiid does not play, Philly's going to need their guards, namely Tyrese Maxey and James Harden, to step up in a big way. Doc Rivers told me over the weekend the team has spent a ton of time preparing on small ball lineups in the event that Embiid cannot play. And Maxey said this morning he feels good about where the Sixers are at with that. But both he and Harden have struggled at times against the Celtics and against smaller switching lineups this year. And for them to win this game tonight, if Embiid can't go, they're going to have to play as well as they have in any game this season.
And again, the headline here, I'm imagining from you watching practice, just as a point of emphasis, he did not do any jogging, no running. You didn't see any type of movement from Embiid, correct?
I did not, though, to be fair, Hannah. We were only in there for the first few minutes of shoot-around. Sixers did access before shoot-around started. So really everybody was just standing around shooting jumpers. Okay. But Joel Embiid walked in, he got his shoes on, he went out and did some shooting, and then we got let out of the gym, and we'll see tonight if he can do anything more than that.
All right, Tim, thanks so much. The Sixers 11-5 overall without him this season, and when he wasn't playing in that wrap-up game against the Nets, they did start Paul Reed at the 5. They kept P.J. Tucker at the 4. Tim, thank you. This is what Doc Rivers and the Sixers would be missing. This season, Embiid averaged 37 points and 12 rebounds in 4 games against the Celtics. However, Boston did win 3 of those 4 meetings. For more on the Sixers Celtics, we welcome NBA analyst Monica McNutt. She has been all over the airwaves holding down the network this morning. So we appreciate you being with us on SportsCenter. You just heard what Tim said. Ideally, if this team is with the presumptive MVP, Joel Embiid, if he is not, how does that set things up for the Celtics?
Well, it's actually a combination of what Tim said, Hannah, and what I heard you just said. If there is no Joel Embiid, then the Celtics are going to have the opportunity to play defense straight up, and they can switch everything. The thing with Joel Embiid's presence is that he garners double teams so often. It's why he's been moved from the block to the high post, because it's harder to double. But without him being there, you look at this Celtics lineup that takes so much pride in their defense, they're going to have the opportunity to match up pretty evenly with the Sixers. Now, you heard Bontemps mention the guard play of the Sixers. You pointed out that Paul Reed has played the 5 in Joel Embiid's absence, and PJ Tucker. The combination of Reed, Tucker, and McDaniel, to me,